All right, here in my garage with my DeLorean, and in tonight's coaching video, we are going to be talking about the exact date and the exact time that I got red pilled. And funny enough, I do remember the exact date and time that I officially stopped being blue pill and I officially turned to the red pill. And ironically enough, that date, ready for this? That date was 6/6/6. I'm not even kidding. It was 6/6/06, June 6, 2006. That was the exact date that my ex-girlfriend and I, from 2006, had broken up. And even more strange, guys, the time that we broke up was 6:06 p.m. I kid you not. This was the exact moment that we literally just ended our relationship and we both went our separate ways. It happened actually at her apartment complex. And she literally turned around, I turned around, she walked back in her door, and I walked back to my car. And I looked at my watch, and it was 6:06 p.m. And I will never forget that. It didn't really dawn upon me until I was driving home that the date was 6/6/6. Crazy enough, right? But in any case, that was a moment where we broke up, and I proceeded to have probably the worst summer ever because I was totally down in the dumps the entire summer, and I just kind of buried myself in my pillows at home and just tried to work through this. I tried to get over it. I tried to work it out in my head. And the good thing about that summer was I was able to reflect on not just my relationship with her, but so many previous relationships that kind of followed the same trajectory, the same pattern. Because I had been doing pickup my entire adult life. So I had no problem going out there and meeting the girls that I wanted to bring into my life. That was one good thing from game, was I was always able to get the girls that I actually wanted into my life and make them my girlfriends. I never had to settle. So I've never been in a relationship where I was like, oh, this sucks, I'm settling, right? And then I'm constantly like looking at other girls. Usually when I have a girlfriend, I'm pretty content, right? I'm not constantly, like in radar mode looking for, the hotter girl, because it's like I'm already with a hot girl, right? So with her, that summer, what I went through was basically 24/7 just reflecting on all my relationships and just really sitting back and identifying a pattern that had not changed with any girlfriend I ever had. I mean, even since like high school, where I had my first girlfriend, all the way to college, and then after college, and then a couple more girls after college, and then to my ex-girlfriend of 2006, I noticed there was a pattern that never really changed. So after we had broken up on 6/6/06, there was something that felt different about that breakup. It wasn't like my previous breakups where I was like, oh, maybe we'll work it out. Maybe we'll get back together. And a lot of times I did get back together with those ex-girlfriends. Right? We did end up getting back together only to break up again. And this is why I teach you guys, you can never really go backwards in a relationship. You can only go forwards. Especially if the girl acts out the way that she does, right? If she's constantly looking for the BBD, if she's constantly being hypergamous, if she constantly thinks the grass is greener on the other side, there's really no fixing that with that type of girl. And there are some type of girls out there that are actually good girls. They'll want to work it out, like genuinely want to work it out with you and genuinely want to give you an opportunity. But those girls are so far and few between. You don't run across them too often. More often you run across the type of girls that I'm talking about. Now, that moment we broke up on 6/6/06, I knew I was not going to come back. And the funny thing was, the weeks leading up to our breakup, or it was actually like a couple of months actually, the months leading up to our breakup, I pleaded with her to knock it off. I pleaded with her to not throw this relationship away. I pleaded with her to work it out with me, which are all obviously blue pill mistakes, right? Hey, make no mistake about it. You should never plead with your girl, and definitely never beg, okay? You should never do these things. But I was pleading with her. I was trying to make this work because I think in the bottom of my heart, I already knew if we end this, if you cheat on me, do any dumb shit like that, I am not coming back. Period. I knew it at the bottom of my heart. I'm like, just don't go there. Because we had a pretty good relationship up until then. Yeah, we had our, fights and this and that, but we had a pretty decent relationship up until then. And we really liked each other. That's the thing. That's the thing that was crazy. We really liked each other. Even after we broke up, we still liked each other. But what happened was she had met another guy during like that 6 to 8 week period where we were breaking up. And this is something that most girls do. They will monkey branch, right? They will find your next replacement before they let go of you. And she did that, right? And a lot of it was encouragement from her crazy, like late 40s, middle-aged auntie at the time. So if your chick has a crazy auntie, look out, right? She's probably going to give her some bad advice. But in any case, I knew that if we broke up, that was going to be, I was going to be done with her because I knew what the reasons would be. I knew that she would just start trying to date this other guy and then she would try to come back after it doesn't work out. A lot of girls will do that, right? They'll like monkey branch to another guy. They'll rebound, right? Because they're so freaking weak. They can't be alone. They'll rebound to another guy. And then when that doesn't work out, guess what? They'll come right back. And your pussy ass takes her right back. Don't you? Don't you, you little worm? You take her right back. She's learned her lesson. She's changed. And then what happens? She doesn't learn her lesson. She just steps on you all over again. Even worse this time because now she knows she can't. So when we broke up on 6/6/06, she had already like gone out with this guy. And that was already enough for me. Even though she was like, no, it was just dinner. It was actually more than just dinner. I found out later, right? But I was like, just the fact that you did, it's never going to be the same again. It's just never going to be the same. And I knew I was never going to be the same. And so we broke up. On that exact date, 6/6/06. At that exact time, 6:06 p.m. The funny thing was, she came back like 2 months later. So we broke up on June 6, 2006. She came back around the first week of August. The problem was, I was long over her. I mean, even if she came back a few weeks later, while I was still hurting and down in the dumps, I still probably wouldn't have taken her back. Just because I was sticking to my guns this time. I knew, I was like, something has got to change, right? I don't want to keep going through this pain over and over and over. Like where I give myself to the girl, I fully give myself to the girl, just for her to take it for granted, look at it as a sign of weakness versus strength, right? And totally just like pummel you. So she tried to come back, right? First week of August. And I had already met somebody else. And this new girl was more attractive than she was. It's definitely hotter than she was. In better shape. I didn't have as strong as a connection to this new girl. But you know what? I didn't care. I was like, hey, I've moved on. I'm happy. I just want to go on with my life, right? I'm not coming back this chick. But she actually tried for, I want to say she tried for at least 2, almost 3 years. This chick tried to get me back. She would stalk my social media, send me little messages, drop little voice calls. I just never responded. I just never came back. Something inside of me had shifted. I was never the same. And I think that's the biggest point I want to drive home from this was from that moment on that I broke up with my ex-girlfriend on 6/6/06 at 6:06 p.m. It changed me for the rest of my life. I was never the same man again. And the funny thing was that ex-girlfriend, when she came back, she literally repeated that over and over, the fact that she just wanted us to go back to normal. She wanted us to be the way we were, before. Wasn't there a song like that? The way we were, right? She wanted us to be the way we were before. And I was like, no, it can never be like that again. And she was like, I just want that Matt back. I want that Matt that loved me, cared for me, took care of me, made me feel so good about myself. That Matt that would mentor me, that Matt that I just want that Matt back. And I was like, he's gone. Okay? That Matt is gone. He's not coming back. Right? This is who I am now. And that doesn't mean that I went like full MGTOW and I was like, oh, screw these bitches, I'm never dating again. Because I was a pickup artist. I enjoyed women, right? And I do enjoy being in relationships with them. However, I was going about it the wrong way. And looking back on it, I see the mistakes that I made. And really, since then, I haven't been dumped. And I've said this on my channel over and over. That was actually the last girlfriend to, quote unquote, dump me, to like break up with me. That was the last time that happened. I've had girlfriends since then, and it's always been me ending it. They've never like flat out called and be like, you know what, it's over. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, no, let's not do this. I've never experienced that since. And I've still been able to enjoy these relationships. So it's not like, I became this, like stone cold son of a bitch, right? I was still able to enjoy these relationships, but I was able to do it from a more responsible and mature and masculine, like a masculine perspective. Whereas before, the way I was operating in these relationships was really from a feminine perspective. Just because, and we all do this as guys, we've just been so brainwashed our entire lives with so much feminist propaganda that it comes out in our behavioral patterns, right? It ends up shaping our behavioral patterns, especially when we are in relationships with females, right? And we're completely oblivious to it. We don't know what's going wrong. I mean, even you, before you found my channel and you were going through these breakups with your exes, I guarantee you were just wanting to tear your eyes out, wanting to know why you're experiencing this pain, wanting to know what you're doing wrong. How can you fix this? Right? And then eventually, guys like yourself, guys like me, you find the red pill, right? And, back then when I went red pill, there was no real terminology for that. You weren't like, oh, I'm going red pill. It was more or less, I used to call it an awakening. That's what I used to call it, because that terminology wasn't really as widespread as it is now, where it's more like mainstream when you go, oh, you've gone red pill. Back then, I would call it an awakening. I had an awakening because my buddies, my wings would always be like, dude, there's something different about you. I'm like, yeah, I've had an awakening. And again, it wasn't like I was walking around bitter, angry, screw bitches. I wasn't. I still loved women. Obviously, I dated another woman right after her. But there was a shift inside of me where I detached from my feminine frame and I really just kind of shifted towards my masculine frame. Like I said, I was able to experience relationships going forward, still able to enjoy them like I am today, but I do it with red pill awareness, or what I call an awakening, right? Where I'm woke. I'm woke to female behavior and what they're capable of. But I have dated girls that are not hypergamous like that, where they're constantly looking for the next, the next best thing, or they're constantly looking to see if the grass is greener on the other side. I've dated, quote unquote, good women who just want to find a good guy to settle down with, right? But for the point of this coaching video, I'm talking about exes who are hypergamous, who do constantly think that there's a bigger, better deal out there, that she could replace you with something better. I'm talking about these kind of girls because those girls make up a majority of the girls that you're going to meet out there. I hate to tell you, but it's true, right? Especially in today's social media environment. But again, getting back to the topic, that was the date that I was red pilled. And that was the date moving forward that I just decided that was never going to happen again. And I spent that summer of 2006 not only just going through the pain and the heartbreak of that relationship, but really analyzing my previous relationships and where they went wrong and what, beyond just putting the blame on the girl like, oh, what a bitch, I was looking at what I was doing wrong. What did I do wrong? Because here I was this phenomenal PUA, right? I could pick up girls like there's no tomorrow. What was the problem with keeping them? Why would I lose value as I was in a relationship? Why would these girls slowly start to lose interest in me? How could I keep that attraction level up? right? It was these pressing questions that I needed to fix in my own game. And obviously I teach these today to you guys, especially who are in my mastery program. I teach these same techniques to you so you don't repeat my mistakes or the mistakes of so many blue pill guys out there. And that's what makes me unique as a pickup and dating coach, is the fact that I'm not just teaching you lessons for how to get the girl, but I'm also teaching you how to keep her, how to hang on, how to hold your masculine frame in LTR, long-term relationships, even marriages, because a lot of my subscribers do want to have a family one day, and these lessons are going to save your life, right? Not to sound arrogant or pat myself on the shoulder. They are going to save your life, right? And these are things that were never taught to you, ever, by anybody, right? Parents Teacher Society never taught you these lessons. I definitely never learned them. I had to learn them the hard way by going through these painful relationships. And especially that last one that I experienced back in 2006 that I often mention on my channel. And, you know, sometimes haters like, oh, it's so bitter, so resentful over that. It's like, no, dude, that was like the best thing that ever happened to me. And I continue to use that breakup and that, you know, that ex of mine as an example of what not to do, right? Many times I'm like, this is what you don't do in these relationships. But that was the exact moment that I got red pilled and I officially stopped being blue pill. That was the moment where also an ironic thing happened is my game went from here to here. My game literally went whoosh. And you'll find this too. Whenever you come from a very, very, very harsh breakup, your game will like go through the roof. Once you finally get over her and you start healing and you start getting back out there, your game will go to another level, right? It will go to another level. And that's something that I've noticed with each girl where I got dumped or we broke up. It's like my game constantly went to another level. And especially after that chick in 2006, because I was like, this ain't happening no more. And I just went crazy for the next several years. Moved to Hollywood, moved to LA. I was just doing game 24/7. I just could not stop myself, right? The girl that I dated after her, we only dated for a few months. She was really attractive, but again, I didn't really feel that much of a connection or a chemistry with her. Definitely not like I felt with my previous ex that we're talking about in this coaching video. So I made the decision to just end it. And we ended it pretty amicably. There was no big like dramatic breakup or anything like that. We're just like, oh, okay, well, you know, it didn't work out and let's stay friends. And we stayed friends for a little while after that. And then finally we just lost contact. But she was cool. I have nothing bad to say about her. But I just moved on from that point on. And I just buried myself in pickup in game. And like I said, my game just went to a whole new level. I met new wingmen. I moved to obviously a new city. I was like 500 miles away from San Francisco at this point. I was living in Los Angeles with my wings. I remember it got to the point where we were literally seeing how far we could take things socially. We were just seeing how much we could get away with, right? And it was really a phenomenal time. And a lot of those lessons that I learned from just burying myself in game for so many of those years, I teach you guys, again, in mastery. This is why my program is so valuable. So valuable, right? And you got to be in there if you're not watching this in mastery already. But that's my story. That is how I got red pilled. And that is how I stopped being blue pill. And if you enjoyed that coaching video, don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell as well so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on my YouTube channel. And more importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Very important you subscribe. Helps me out a ton. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, and platinum pill content even further, best way to do that is to jump into 7 months of mastery. Right now it's only $1. So click that link below and it will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds. So do that now. And I will see you in my next coaching video.